Good evening, everyone. Welcome. We're going to get started here in just a second. Just going to give it like just maybe 30 more seconds here at tops. All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining today's session. My name is Christina Austin. I'm the Field Operations Director for the Child Care Licensing Division. My role is to lead our statewide licensing teams and to bring a strategic lens to quality and safety in childcare. It is so wonderful to be here with you today, and we truly hope you find this information useful and supportive as we navigate these rule revisions together. This presentation is a summary of the key changes to the Certified Family Childcare Rules, which will go into effect on July 1st, 2025. Please note this is an overview of the main updates, but it does not cover every single change in the new rule set. Our goal today is to give you a clear understanding of the most significant updates that will affect your childcare program. Next slide, please. We want to make sure everyone knows how to access interpretation services if needed. If you require interpretation in another language, simply click the globe icon and you will find it in the bottom right corner of your Zoom screen. Once you click it, just select your preferred language from the list and the interpretation will begin immediately. If you have any trouble accessing interpretation, please let us know through the Q&A tab and we'll do our best to assist you. Next slide. Before we dive into today's content, I'd like to take just a moment to go over a few housekeeping items to help the session run smoothly. First, please note the chat function has been disabled for this webinar. If you have any questions during the presentation, we ask that you use the Q&A tab located at the bottom of your screen. We'll do our best to address as many questions as possible during this session. That being said, please understand that we may not be able to answer every question today, especially if it requires more detailed follow-up. In those cases, someone from the Child Care Licensing Division may follow up after the session. And if your question is specific to your individual program, we encourage you to reach out to your licensing specialist. They're the best resource for providing tailored guidance and support based on your unique circumstances. Thanks for helping us keep the session organized. And now let's talk more about accessing interpretation during this session. Oh, sorry, I already did that. My bad. Let me introduce who you're spending your time with today. All right. I want to take a few moments here to introduce this incredible team that's hosting today's webinar. These individuals bring a wide range of experience, insight, and dedication to supporting family child care providers across Oregon. I have already introduced myself, but I would like to also introduce Cynthia Smith and Jenny Souter, who are both regional managers, who provide leadership and support to licensing staff and ensure consistent implementation of rules and guidance across their regions. We're also joined by Jackie Barrios, a senior licensing specialist, who brings deep knowledge of licensing standards and provider support. From the policy side, we welcome Abby Strom, our Child Care Initiatives Analyst, who plays a key part in developing policy by analyzing legislation, leading large-scale initiatives, including rule development, and collaborating across departments within DELC to support child care providers and families throughout Oregon. And finally, joining us, we have Ronnie Pham, our Child Care Quality Specialist, who works on internal and external activities that seeks to build quality childcare for children, families, and the early learning workforce. And we have Bree Irvin, CCLD's Communication and Databases Coordinator, who is here this evening supporting by sharing the presentation. We're thrilled to have this team with us today, and we appreciate their commitment to supporting you, our family child care community. Now I'm going to be turning things over to Abby.
Hi, thank you, Christina. As Christina mentioned, my name is Abby Strom, and I am the Child Care Initiatives Analyst with the CCLD Policy Team. Before we dive into today's content, we just wanted to take a moment to share how we got to this point with this revised rule set. This update to both the registered family and certified family rules is actually part of a much larger effort happening across all of CCLD, and which includes a full scale revision of all rules for licensed childcare. We began with the creation and adoption of school age or rules for school age programs, and then moved to the revision of certified center rules. And during the next phase, we revised rules for registered and certified family childcare. And you may have also heard that CCLD recently adopted rules for certified outdoor nature-based programs. If you'd like to view any of these rule sets, they are all available on the DELC website. As a part of this broader effort, we have been guided by a few key principles that you can see outlined on this slide. Over on the right-hand side, you'll also see a summary of engagement that's happened ongoing throughout the rulemaking process, which includes listening sessions with providers, an online feedback form, as well as community work groups and advisory committees. And several of you on this call or this webinar may have participated in any one of those outreach efforts, and we thank you for your time and providing us with feedback. A lot of changes you see today have come from day-to-day conversations with licensing specialists, with you as childcare providers. Things that we've learned over time and heard from you that need more clarity. And we really have a shared commitment to keeping children in healthy and safe environments. Next slide. Oh, back one. That's all right. Thank you. Sorry about that. We are very grateful that you are in attendance here and ready to learn about some of the changes. And please know that not all of the rule changes will be covered today. Our new revision of certified family rules is a total revision. The rulebook has been reorganized for clarity, and many rules have been rewritten to increase understanding using plain language. Because there are a lot of changes, and DELC has set up supports for you beyond this webinar. A video series will be available, which will go into depth regarding changes to each rulebook section, and these videos will be made available on the DELC YouTube page. We also have a library of new technical assistance documents and materials, which you can request from your licensing specialists that will help you implement the new rules. And your licensing specialist is your best resource if you have questions about these new rules and how they may affect your specific program. And remember, we know that it will take time to learn the rules and apply them to your program. And starting in July, when these rules take effect, your licensing specialist will take time at your next licensing visit to help make a plan with you on what your next steps are for implementation. We will be spending the next year providing technical assistance and allowing programs ample time to come into compliance with the new changes in this rulebook. And while our licensing specialists have received quite a bit of training, we will be ready, and so that we can be ready for you in July. We know that applying specific rules to specific programs will also take time. We are all in the learning space with these new rules, and our system recognizes that, and we will come along the side while you work on implementation. We are here to help. Now it's time to dig into the content, and I'm going to pass this over to Jackie Barrios.
Thanks, Abby. Good evening, everybody. My name is Jackie Barrios. I am a senior licensing specialist from the Salem Licensing Unit, and I'm excited to be here and to share the new rules with all of you. I will begin the evening by first reviewing updated definitions. Now, definitions are a way to support the rules for childcare, ensuring the rules are applied as intended. There have been several significant changes and additions to the definitions section. One significant change is the replacement of childproof lock with inaccessible to children. This change broadens the language and provides more flexibility for childcare providers to use various methods to ensure that hazards, toxins, and potentially dangerous equipment are maintained inaccessible to children. While childproof locks are still an option, you can now explore other safe and effective ways to prevent access to various hazards. Some other definition updates include, but are not limited to, child with specific needs, developmentally appropriate, physical restraint, play yard, and supervision. These definition updates help providers gain a clear understanding of the rules and help prevent misinterpretations. Okay, so let's now take a look at some of the updates related to family child care policies and the communication of those policies to others. First, staff, volunteers, and parents are now required to receive copies of your policies in electronic or paper format and be notified whenever there are any changes. This ensures that everyone involved is fully informed and aware of the expectations and guidelines that govern your program. Next, the declaration of viewing, which was previously required, is no longer required to be used. While it's still important for everyone to view and acknowledge your license, there is no longer a formal written declaration confirming that it has been viewed. These updates are designed to enhance transparency and communication within your child care program. Next, let's review the rule updates regarding your emergency preparedness and evacuation plans. These are critical for ensuring that you're prepared in case of an emergency. You are required to have and maintain a written emergency preparedness plan that addresses evacuation, relocation, shelter in place, lockdown procedures, and responding to medical emergencies and other incidents. The new rule also states that you must review the written evacuation plan and all emergency procedures at least once per licensing period and update them as necessary. You must identify a licensed physician, hospital, or clinic for emergency medical care. And for evacuation purposes, your designated safe areas in alternate shelters must be located at least 50 feet away from the building home being evacuated. This distance ensures that everyone is safe from potential hazards or further risks. The new rules also address weather conditions, temperatures, and air quality. You're now required to account for these factors in your emergency plans, including the potential for extreme temperatures or poor air quality that could impact children's safety during an evacuation or while sheltering in place. You must also have an emergency light source, such as a flashlight, in working condition. These changes are designated to improve safety and ensure that your program is well prepared for emergencies, no matter what kind of situation arises. Now let's move on to the rule updates related to child enrollment forms and the information you'll need to maintain for each child enrolled in your care. You now have the flexibility to store children's records either in paper or electronic format. The key is to ensure that records are both easily accessible and securely stored, regardless of their format. The requirement to include a child's dentist information on the enrollment form has been removed and is no longer required to be collected. You must now document that parents have received a copy of your policies. This could be a signed acknowledgement form or another method that confirms that parents have reviewed and received your policies. And finally, a new requirement is for parents or guardians to review update, and sign or initial their child's enrollment form at least annually, verifying that the information is still accurate. And these changes are meant to streamline enrollment procedures while ensuring that key information is collected and stored appropriately. So let's review the update regarding immunization records and how they relate to your child care program. If a child is enrolled in public or private elementary school, you are no longer required to document their immunizations in their child file. Immunization records will already be tracked through the school system, and it is understood that the school will meet the necessary immunization requirements. The rules have also been updated to allow more flexibility in situations where children may not yet have their immunizations up to date if they are experiencing homelessness. This allows parents or guardians the time needed to take necessary actions to comply with immunization requirements. These updates ensure that your program can accommodate all children, even if they are in situations where documentation or full immunization compliance is temporarily unavailable. Next, we'll discuss the rules updates for parent permissions and when they are required for your child care program. You must have current written permission from the parents for their child regarding specific activities, which include high-risk activities such as swimming, mountain biking, or any other potentially risky activity. If you plan to use photographs or recordings of a child for public purposes, such as on social media, in advertisements, or other public-facing materials. For chronic medical conditions, you may obtain written permission with specific instructions when administering medication for up to 12 months. Examples include diaper cream and inhalers. If a family is experiencing homelessness, there is flexibility in cases where written permission is not obtainable due to the family's circumstances. Permissions can be provided verbally as long as you document the date and time you were given permission and maintain it in the child's file. Electronic permissions, such as through a text or email message, can also be used as an accepted form of permission. These updates ensure that children in your child care programs maintain appropriate permissions while also being sensitive to the circumstances of families who may be facing some challenges. Next, let's go over the requirements for maintaining personnel records for staff, which is an important part of keeping your child care home compliant with CCLD rules. A certified family provider must maintain current personnel records for each staff member, either in paper or electronic format. These records must include the following: Central Background Registry, or CBR, confirmation letter. This letter confirms that staff have enrollment in the CBR. If the staff member does not yet have a CBR confirmation letter, you must keep written documentation showing that you have verified with CCLD that the caregiver is enrolled in the CBR and linked to your child care home, including the date, time, and name of the CCLD staff member that you spoke with. The provider must also ensure that all staff have access to all policies and CCLD rules for certified family child care homes. It is also required that a signed and dated statement is on file that staff were shown the policies and rules. By keeping these records up to date, you help ensure that all caregivers are qualified and prepared to provide safe, high-quality care for the children in your program. Next, we'll talk about the updates related to attendance records and the documentation you need to maintain your child care program. A certified family home must maintain the current day's attendance record in paper or electronic format. This gives you the flexibility to maintain paper or electronic systems. All caregivers must have access to the attendance records to ensure staff know which children are in care during their work shift, when there are changes in caregivers throughout the day, and during emergency evacuations. Daily caregiver attendance records must include the caregiver's name and the date and time of their arrival and departure. This ensures that there's a clear record of who was responsible for the children at any time and keeps the transitions smooth. This documentation updates help ensure that your program operates transparently, safely, and in compliance with all regulations. Keeping accurate records is key to both safety and accountability. Now, let's discuss important updates regarding the accessibility of records and their use in emergency situations. So you must maintain menus for up to 3 weeks. You may store childcare records that are older than 1 year off-site if needed. You are responsible for ensuring the records are available within 48 hours upon request. You must also make all other records required by these rules available to CCLD at all times. One critical update is that electronic records, including but not limited to children's records and the current day's attendance, must be portable in case of an emergency evacuation. This allows for the ease of taking records with you quickly and securely if you need to evacuate the child care home. For electronic records, you must also have procedures in place to ensure prompt access during an emergency. This includes having a backup system, either on-site or off-site, to safeguard your records and ensure access in the event of data loss. Whether through cloud storage, an external hard drive, or another secure backup method, it's essential that these records can be retrieved when needed. Now, these updates are focused on making sure that records are both secure and accessible during routine operations, as well as in the event of an emergency, ensuring that your child care home remains compliant and prepared. Now let's talk about updates related to required notifications for serious injuries and incidents. The new rule requires that any serious injury or incident be reported to CCLD by 5 p.m. of the next business day. This ensures that incidents are addressed promptly and that CCLD is kept informed of any serious situations that may occur in your program. We also expanded the list of situations that must be reported to the child's parent and documented immediately. Please consult the rulebook for the complete list. Parents must be notified upon picking up their child if an injury occurred, such as cuts, scratches, and bites from other children requiring first aid treatment. These updates are designed to enhance communication and ensure that you, your staff, and parents are promptly informed about any serious incidents that may impact a child's well-being. Now I will hand things over to Jenny to discuss updates to the rules regarding Central Background Registry enrollment. And we may need to pause for questions. I'm not sure if we have anything in the chat.
Thank you for that pause, Jackie. We don't have anything in the Q&A that wasn't already answered. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you, Jackie. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jenny Souter, and I'm the regional manager from the Portland area. Next, we have an update regarding individuals who may live on the premises of your childcare home, such as those living in an accessory dwelling unit, and their involvement in the childcare program. If there are individuals living in the premises who do not have access to the childcare space or the children, there are specific allowances in place. These individuals are not required to be enrolled in the CBR as long as they do not interact with the children or have access to the childcare areas. This is designed to ensure that only individuals who have direct contact with the children or who work in the childcare are subject to the CBR requirements. If someone living on the premises does have access to the children or the childcare areas, they would still need to go through the background check process and be enrolled in the CBR. Next, we'll discuss key changes to provider qualifications and substitute provider requirements under the revised Child Care Family Rules. The most significant updates include the requirement for providers to now obtain a Step 6 in Oro, complete 20 semester credits in early childhood education or child development, or accumulate 1,500 hours of documented experience. Substitute providers must now meet Assistant 2 qualifications and maintain documentation of specific items reviewed. Additionally, Child Care Substitutes of Oregon substitutes now have the ability to serve as providers, Assistant 2, or Assistant 1 without prior experience in the program, as long as they complete an orientation beforehand. These changes aim to create a more streamlined and accessible path for childcare providers while maintaining quality standards. Recent updates to the Certified Family Rules introduce key modifications regarding Assistant 1 and Assistant 2 positions. Next slide, please. Assistant 1 can now be 14 years old, with supervision requirements defined based on age due to CBR enrollment restrictions. Assistant 1s may transition to Assistant 2 once they complete all training requirements and reach 18 years of age. The previous requirement of 60 hours of experience to become an Assistant 2 has been removed. These updates provide more opportunities for individuals to enter the childcare workforce while maintaining essential training and supervision standards. Next slide. Recent updates to the Certified Family Rules outline essential training and certification requirements for providers and caregivers, including Foundations for Learning training before staff are able to have unsupervised access to childcare children. Let's review an important update regarding annual training for substitute providers and substitute Assistant 2s. Under this rule update, substitute providers and substitute Assistant 2s who work 240 hours or more during the licensing period are now required to complete annual training hours. Those meeting this threshold must fulfill the annual training requirements to ensure they maintain the necessary knowledge and skill for quality care. Additionally, if an Assistant 2 is substituting for the provider, they are also required to meet the annual training requirements. This change ensures consistency in training and maintains high standards of care across all roles. Now let's discuss some important updates related to caregiver training and the use of the Oregon Registry online system. All caregivers employed by a certified family provider must have an active account with Oro. This is the state's online system for tracking training and credentials. It ensures that all caregivers are properly registered and that their training records are up to date. Additionally, all training must be approved by Oro to count towards required certifications or qualifications. Please remember that recognizing and reporting child abuse and neglect training can be taken every 3 years. This helps ensure that caregivers are consistently updated on best practices and legal requirements, when it comes to identifying and reporting child abuse and neglect. These changes aim to keep training consistent, up to date, and properly documented to ensure that all caregivers are qualified and prepared to provide safe and effective care for the children in your program. Let's go over some key updates that impact caregiver ratios and infant care requirements. The number of required caregivers is determined by the age and number of the youngest child or children in the group. Caregiver to child ratio requirements outlined in Table A must be followed at all times to ensure safe supervision. If infants who are not yet crawling share an activity area with older children, you must have a written plan detailing how caregivers will ensure their safety. A provider's child under 6 weeks old may be in care without requiring an exception. However, no child younger than 6 weeks, other than the provider's own child, can be in childcare at a certified family childcare home. These updates help streamline ratio guidelines, ensure proper supervision, and promote infant safety in mixed age group settings. Next, we'll go over key updates regarding outdoor supervision and caregiver responsibilities. Whenever children under 36 months are outside, at least one caregiver must be present outdoors to ensure supervision and safety. If multiple caregivers are required to meet caregiver to child ratios, one caregiver may step away temporarily for tasks that support the care and education of the children. These tasks may include cleaning up after an activity, preparing items for a new activity, or cooking meals. The caregiver completing these tasks must still be within sight or sound of children and be able to respond if needed. However, they do not have to provide their full attention to the children while performing these supporting activities. This update helps balance active supervision with essential caregiving tasks, ensuring both safety and efficiency in the childcare setting. Let's discuss some additional updates regarding supervision requirements during napping and resting in certified family settings. You must ensure that there is sufficient light in any room where children are napping or resting. This is important so that caregivers can clearly see each child's face from any point in the room. It's also important to be mindful of background noise in rooms where children are napping. Whether you're using music or a sound machine or white noise to help the children rest, the noise must not be too loud. When a caregiver is in a separate room from the children, the doors must be kept open wide enough so that a caregiver can easily step into the room to perform frequent audio and visual checks of the children. Lastly, children may not be on a different floor level of the home unless a caregiver is on the same floor to maintain direct supervision and be able to respond quickly to children's needs. These changes enforce child safety and active supervision all times of care, especially during rest periods. Now let's talk about updates that focus on ways in which caregivers communicate with and interact with children to foster a positive and supportive environment. When interacting with children, you must ensure that the environment promotes healthy, culturally responsive child development. This means creating a space where children feel heard, respected, and encouraged. Some of the examples of this include giving encouragement and positive feedback to help build confidence, modeling active listening and showing respect when communicating, speaking to children at their eye level, which helps them feel valued and understood. Providing kind greetings and goodbyes to foster a welcoming environment. Validating children's feelings and ideas so they know their emotions are acknowledged. Using a calm and encouraging tone of voice to create a safe space. Being curious about the individuality of each child and their family to better support their unique needs. You must also encourage positive interactions among children. Some ways to support this include modeling social skills and empathy so children learn how to interact with each other respectfully. Helping children understand their feelings and the feelings of others, fostering kindness and compassion. Continuing on with creating a healthy climate for child development, you must also encourage positive interactions between children. Some ways to support this include modeling social skills and empathy so children learn how to interact with others respectfully. Helping children understand their feelings and the feelings of others, fostering kindness and compassion. Supporting children who may struggle to make friends by guiding them and creating opportunities for connection. Encouraging play between children of all abilities and backgrounds to promote inclusivity and mutual respect. Lastly, it's important to note that when caregivers are lifting or moving a child, they must do so in a way that ensures safety and comfort for the child. This means using appropriate techniques and being mindful of the child's comfort throughout the process. By implementing these practices, children will feel respected, valued, and better equipped to navigate relationships and emotions and help providers foster a nurturing and supportive environment that prioritizes both the emotional and physical well-being of the children in their care. Next, let's go over updates regarding daily routines and activities and how the schedule should be structured for the children in care. One of the key changes is to the screen time guidelines. The new rule adjusts the previous daily limit from 2 hours a day to a weekly limit of 10 hours a week for school-age children and 5 hours a week for children who are preschool age and younger. This gives more flexibility while still limiting screen time to ensure that children have a healthy balance of activities throughout the week. Another important update is that you must ensure daily outdoor play for each child, regardless of age, bearing in mind weather and environmental conditions do not pose a health or safety risk. This ensures that children get the physical activity and fresh air they need every day, which is important for their physical and mental development. And now I will turn it over to Cynthia to discuss more about changes to infant and toddler care.
Thank you, Jenny. Okay.
Oh, I was just going to check in with Ronnie. Any more questions for you?
Thank you, Jenny. We do have one that we would like to cover. This question is in regard to an injury. If a child gets a scrape, can that be reported to the parents verbally, or does it need to be reported to the parents in a written form?
Right. And thank you for that question. For known minor injuries, such as a scratch, the rule only requires that parents are notified at pickup or family members are notified at pickup. It does not specify whether it has to be in writing or verbally, so the provider can choose either one. I do want to call out, though, that if there are serious injuries, which are defined in rule, there are record-keeping requirements for that, so those are still in place. But for anything that is a known minor injury, that can just be, the parent just has to be notified of that at pickup.
Thank you, Abby and Jenny. That's all at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and thank you, Abby, for answering that question. And thank you, Jenny, for going over those sections. So my name is Cynthia. I'm a regional manager from the Portland area, and I'm excited to talk with you all tonight about infants and toddlers. Tonight, we're going to go over what movement and restrictive equipment rules. So first, an infant and toddler's general mood and activities throughout the day were added as part of the family's daily communication. This provides the families with a fuller understanding of their child's day in your care. Infants and young toddlers must be given opportunities to interact and be near one another. This helps their social, emotional development and also promotes a sense of connection, which is important for their emotional well-being. A key update is that restrictive infant equipment such as bouncers, exercisers, swings, infant seats, high chairs and low chairs, or structured infant carriers must be limited in use. The new rule limits the use of these types of equipment to no more than 30 minutes in any 2-hour period. This ensures that infants have ample time to move freely, which is crucial for their development and their motor skills and muscle strength. There is an exception for the 30-minute time limit where it may not apply. For example, if the infant is actively engaged in eating, stroller walks, or car rides, the time spent in the restrictive equipment may exceed the 30-minute limit. These activities are necessary for a child's routine, but they don't restrict their development in the same way. These updates are designed to support infants' physical and social development by limiting the use of equipment that restricts their movement and encourages natural interaction and activities. Next, let's cover important updates regarding the feeding of infants, particularly around human milk, formula, and the introduction of solid foods. There are now specific requirements for the storage, preparation, and serving of human milk and formula to ensure practices are safe and hygienic. A new rule has been introduced that no juice of any kind may be served to infants. This helps reduce the risk of early childhood cavities and ensures infants get the nutrients they need from breast milk or formula and not sugary beverages. Another important update is that infant formula cannot be mixed with cereal, fruit juice, or other foods unless there is written permission from a medical practitioner. And lastly, infants under 6 months of age may not be given water to drink unless there is a written approval from a medical professional. These changes ensure that feeding practices are safer and more appropriate for the developmental needs of infants, helping to promote their overall health and nutrition. Now, let's talk about the updated rules for cribs, portable cribs, and play yards in family childcare settings. This will ensure the safety and comfort of infants during nap time. You must provide each infant with an individual crib, portable crib, or play yard to ensure a safe and personal sleeping space. However, you are not required to have a separate crib, portable crib, or play yard for every enrolled infant. Only enough for each infant to have their own when needed. The sleeping surface must be firm, flat, and non-inclined to reduce the risk of suffocation or unsafe sleeping practices. The mattress must meet the following criteria. It should be fit tightly in the crib or play yard with no gaps between the mattress and the sides of the product. Be covered in a durable, washable, waterproof material. Be firm enough to hold its shape and not indent or conform to the infant's head. And be covered by a tight-fitting sheet that stays in place with regular use with no slacking or bunching. These requirements aim to ensure that infants have a safe, secure sleeping environment that complies with the latest safety standards, reducing the risk of injury or suffocation. This slide continues the discussion around changes regarding infant sleep equipment, safety, and developmental materials in a family childcare setting. It is important to note that bassinets, stacking wall or modular cribs, and crib bumper pads are prohibited. These types of equipment do not meet current safety standards for infant sleep environments. Sheets must be changed when soiled, before the use by another child, and at a minimum of once a week. This ensures a clean and sanitary sleeping environment for each infant. In support of traditional Indigenous practices, cradle boards or other traditional Indigenous sleep equipment may be used as a sleep service for infants. However, caregivers must exercise caution and make sure to not overbundle or overheat an infant while they are using this equipment. This will ensure the child's comfort and safety. Now, let's review an important update regarding materials and toys in certified family childcare settings. You must offer a variety of materials that are developmentally appropriate and stimulating to the child's senses. This means including material that encourages exploration, creativity, and engagement, tailored to the children's ages and developmental levels. Materials and toys must not pose a choking hazard to ensure the safety of younger children. This includes avoiding small objects with a diameter less than 1 1/4 inches, plastic bags, styrofoam items, rubber or latex balloons. These updates emphasize the importance of maintaining a safe, developmentally appropriate environment for infants, ensuring that equipment is not only functional, but also safe for the children in your care. And finally, let's review an important update regarding infant equipment restrictions and high chair safety in family childcare settings. Certain infant equipment can no longer be used due to safety concerns. These include baby walkers, doorway jumpers, accordion safety gates, bean bags, water beds, foam pads for sleeping, and unstructured infant slings or wraps. These items pose risks such as fall hazards, suffocation dangers, or a lack of proper support for infants. If you use a high chair, they must comply with the Consumer Safety Commission standards and include a broad base to prevent tipping, a latch to keep a child from raising the tray, T-shaped straps, or a guard to prevent entrapment or sliding out. If you use clip-on chairs, the chairs must have a strap to prevent the child from sliding out and ensuring safety. These changes are designed to enhance infant safety and reduce risks associated with improper equipment use. Now we're going to review updated safe sleep guidelines for infants, which have been clarified to align with the American Academy of Pediatrics recommendations. These changes emphasize safe sleep practices that protect infants while they're sleeping. While infants are sleeping, you must monitor them frequently to ensure safety. This includes checking to make sure that the infant is breathing properly, is not overheating, is not in distress, and does not need any immediate assistance. Infants must always be placed on their backs to sleep. They should be placed on a firm, flat, non-inclined surface to reduce the risk of suffocation or other sleep-related accidents. And for infants who can roll from back to front or back to side, they may remain in that sleep position they assume. As we continue to focus on safe sleep, we'll now discuss what should and should not be in or around the infant sleep space. Infants must never have their heads or faces covered by blankets, linens, or other items while they sleep. Additionally, no item shall be placed over the top or sides of the crib, portable crib, or play yard, such as tents or sheets. Items such as headwear, bibs, necklaces, and garments with ties or drawstrings must be removed from the infant before they are laid down to sleep. Swaddling or any other type of clothing or covering that restricts the infant's arm or leg movements is prohibited at all times. When the child is not sleeping, even when the child is not sleeping. Additionally, weighted blankets, weighted clothing, or any other weighted object should never be placed near or on a sleeping infant. Additionally, only a plain pacifier is allowed in the crib, portable crib, play yard. No pacifier clips, bottles, toys, pillows, stuffed animals, blankets, or bumpers shall be present. Lastly, if you are holding or carrying a sleeping infant in a structured infant carrier and are engaging in an activity, you must move the infant to a safe sleep surface as soon as the activity is finished. If you're holding a sleeping infant, you must remain awake, alert, and focus on the infant and be able to immediately observe or feel any signs of distress. These updates are all about creating a safe sleep environment for infants to reduce the risk of sleep-related accidents like suffocation or strangulation. By keeping the sleep space free of any safe items and following best practices, we can help ensure that infants rest safely and comfortably. Now let's go over updated guidelines for diapering practices in a family child care setting, which focuses on ensuring the health and safety of the children in your care. Diapers must be checked at least every 2 hours, unless the child is sleeping, or more frequently if the child's needs require it. The rules have been clarified regarding the diaper changing area. It is essential that the area is maintained with cleanliness and hygiene to ensure safe sanitary environment for diaper changes. The updated rule allows for the use of cloth or reusable diapers in family child care settings. However, these must be stored and cleaned according to specific requirements to prevent contamination and ensure hygiene. A disinfecting solution must be available at each diaper changing area or kept ready for immediate use. The disinfectant must be stored out of the child's reach to avoid any accidents or misuse. These updates are designed to enhance the cleanliness and safety of the diapering process, help prevent potential health risks like skin infections or contamination. I now want to pause in case there are any questions at this time.
Thank you, Cynthia. Does this mean that they can hold infants while they sleep?
Yes. Hold those babies.
That's right.
Okay, we have a question about infant cereal. So regarding cereal with infant formula, can the parents' consent be obtained if they are interested in having this given to the 8-month-old infant?
So I think, and there was another question too, Ronnie, that was kind of similar to this, and it's about being able to mix either formula or breast milk with cereal. And I could, the intent of that rule is that breast milk and formula, it's really about what's served to a child in the bottle. So if you're in a, if you're feeding an infant via a bottle, the only thing that can be in that bottle is either breast milk or formula. And if you're feeding a child, an infant cereal, you can mix formula or breast milk with that cereal. So I hope that answers both of those questions.
Thank you. We have another one. Is it necessary to use sheets to cover what would be the mattress?
I believe, I want to double check my rule book. I have my rule book out, but yes, I believe that for infants in particular, the mattress must be covered with a tight-fitting sheet.
Thank you, Abby. So in regards to the cleaning solution for the changing table, can that be left unlocked if it's out of reach?
Yes, it can. That meets the definition of inaccessible. And actually, there is a specific provision in this rule that's on the screen that says that it can just be stored out of reach. It does not have to be stored under child-proof lock. We want folks to use that to maintain a sanitary diaper changing environment.
Thank you. And let me just check. Do we still need to use changing tables to change the baby's diapers?
So, again, I'm looking at the rules. If infants and toddlers are in care, there must be a diaper changing area. If you're certified to care for more than 12 children and there are 8 infants and toddlers, so children that would need diaper changing regularly in care, there must be a second diaper changing area available. The diaper changing area must be located so that hand washing can occur immediately after without contacting any other surfaces. So, and then the diaper changing surface, so it does say just the surface, must be sturdy, smooth, non-absorbent, easily cleanable, and free of rips and tears. It does not say that it needs to be a table. So as long as the diaper changing surface meets those requirements, it does not need to be a table. As a former licensing specialist, I've seen many certified family providers have like changing mats that they've used on the floor that are plastic and easily cleanable and durable, and they clean after every use, and that would meet those requirements. If you do use a elevated changing table, children must you must always be with the child while they're on that elevated changing table.
Thank you, Abby. Cynthia, do we have one more? Time for one more?
We do.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this is our last one. Any rule about hand sanitizers having to be locked or out of the reach of children? What's the rule on hand sanitizer?
Hand sanitizer is out of reach or inaccessible to children. So, and there are multiple ways within the definition of inaccessible to children for folks to keep hazards inaccessible. And one of them is out of reach. So, yes.
Thank you, Abby. Cynthia, that's it for now. I have one coming in and we'll try to work with that.
Sounds good.
Thank you for the time.
Oh, thank you, Ronnie, and thank you, Abby, for answering those. And thank you for the wonderful questions that you were all submitting. I'm now going to hand things back over to Jackie. Jackie?
Thank you, Cynthia. Okay, so we'll now review an important update regarding behavior and guidance policies in family childcare settings. So these changes emphasize positive guidance and they ensure fair treatment for all children. So you must use positive guidance techniques to help children develop self-regulation, self-direction, and respect for others. You must also actively intervene to stop the unfair treatment of children based on their family, gender, race, ethnicity, economic status, ability, religion, or cultural background. These updates reinforce the importance of creating a nurturing, respectful, and equitable environment for all children in care. So now let's go over some essential updates regarding prohibited discipline and actions in family childcare settings. These actions are now more clearly defined to ensure that all discipline methods are safe, respectful, and developmentally appropriate. The new rules explicitly prohibit certain actions that are harmful and inappropriate for children. These include using food or foreign objects in a child's mouth as a form of discipline, exposing children to extreme temperatures, whether hot or cold, as a form of punishment, humiliation, or name-calling, including the use of derogatory or sarcastic remarks that could damage a child's self-esteem. Excessive physical exercise as a punishment, which could be harmful or unsafe for children. Requiring a child to remain silent or inactive for extended periods, which is inappropriate for their development. Removal from all activities as a disciplinary action, which can lead to isolation and emotional distress. These actions are prohibited because they can cause physical harm, emotional distress, or hinder a child's development. Instead, you're encouraged to use positive discipline strategies that focus on teaching, guiding, and helping children understand appropriate behavior. By following these updated guidelines, we create a supportive and safe environment where children feel respected and valued. Okay, let's now discuss the updated physical restraint policy for family child care providers. These changes emphasize safety, appropriate use, and documentation when restraint is necessary. It is important providers read through the new rules regarding physical restraint. They include when physical restraint may be used, rules around physical restraint, when to discontinue the use of physical restraint, what happens if physical restraint is used, which includes reporting and documenting it, and finally, rules around if physical restraint is used more than once on one specific child. These changes ensure that physical restraint is only used as a last resort, is done safely, and is monitored for appropriate use. Do we have any questions, Ronnie?
We do, Jackie. Thank you for giving us this pause. We have a question going back a little bit to the infants. What happens if a baby sleeps in a playpen rather than a crib? These playpens come with a sheet that can't be removed. Would this be enough, or would there still need to be another sheet?
I'm going to ask that specific questions about pieces of infant sleep equipment go to your licensing specialist, just because they're going to be able in your home, see what you're using, and then we'll apply those rules to that. Or if you're looking to purchase new equipment, maybe you contact your licensing specialist prior to making that purchase, just to make sure that it's in compliance with those rules. Generally speaking, the rule states that any infant sleep surface is going to need a sheet that can be removed and cleaned. But since I don't know specifically what type of product you have or are looking to purchase, we would really recommend that you reach out to your licensing specialist that can walk you through that.
Thanks, Abby. We have one more question, and that is, can they still use antibacterial gel?
We have a whole section on hand washing. So there are certain instances where hand sanitizer can be used, yes. And we will go over those in a future slide.
Thank you. That's it for now.
Thanks, Ronnie. Okay, so now I will hand it back over to Jenny.
Thank you, Jackie. Let's discuss an update to certified family childcare rules regarding toilet requirements and capacity limits. The requirement for a second toilet has been removed for certified family homes, and you can now operate with one toilet and have a maximum capacity of 16 children, as long as all other licensing requirements are met. This makes it more accessible for you to operate without needing an additional restroom. This change offers more flexibility for providers while ensuring childcare facilities remain safe, functional, and compliant. Let's go over important updates to building and safety requirements for certified family childcare homes to ensure a safe and secure environment for children, as well as ensuring safe evacuation routes in case of emergencies. A certified childcare home must be a building constructed as a single-family dwelling or other suitable dwelling to provide a safe residential setting for children. All rooms used for play or napping must also have 2 usable exits to ensure safe evacuation in emergencies. A usable exit is defined as an unobstructed door or window that allows for quick evacuation. The rules also added requirements around portable electric space heaters, indoor temperatures, lofts, and window coverings. These updates enhance child safety, emergency preparedness, and environmental security in certified family childcare homes. Let's talk about the updated rules for preventing access and exposure to toxic substances and required barriers around bodies of water. The updated rules clarify that any hazard, including sanitizing and disinfecting solutions, must be inaccessible to children. This includes ensuring that chemicals, cleaning agents, or other potentially harmful substances are stored in secure locations where children cannot reach them. Inaccessible storage is key to preventing accidental poisoning or injury. Additional examples of hazards include lead-based paint, plumbing or fixtures with lead, asbestos, and toxic mold. Access to these substances could pose serious health risk, and childcare homes must take steps to eliminate or prevent exposure to these toxins. The rules require that access to pools, ponds, and hot tubs be prevented with the use of appropriate barriers. These bodies of water are significant safety hazards, and it's crucial that they are securely fenced or otherwise blocked off to prevent children from accessing them. These barriers should meet specific safety standards to ensure that they effectively prevent access and accidental drownings. By ensuring that these hazards are properly stored and preventing access to dangerous areas like pools and ponds, you are creating a safer environment for the children in your care. Next, we'll discuss 3 key updates to the family childcare rules regarding sleep equipment, safe use of tools that pose a safety risk, and culturally diverse learning opportunities. To ensure safe sleep environments for children, sleeping mats used for sleeping must be at least 1 inch thick to provide adequate comfort and support. Activities that involve potentially hazardous tools, such as irons, glue guns, and woodworking tools, are only allowed for preschool and school-aged children. However, these tools must only be used under very specific rules and conditions. You must first instruct children on the proper use and safety measures of the tool, and with close supervision within arm's reach when children use these tools to reduce the risk of injury. You must also incorporate inclusive and diverse materials to reflect the children, families, and caregivers in their care. Let's review key updates to the family childcare rules regarding outdoor play area use, safety measures, and supervision requirements. If you use a public park or other off-site play area, you must submit a written safety plan for approval by CCLD. Protective surfacing is required for any equipment 18 inches or higher. Trampolines are not allowed for childcare children to use, except for rebounders, which are smaller individual trampolines that are safer for one child to use at a time. To promote safety during active play, it's strongly encouraged to have children wear helmets when using any bicycles, tricycles, balance bikes, kick scooters, skateboards, or roller or inline skates. By following these updated guidelines, you can help ensure that the children in your care have safe, fun, and engaging outdoor play experiences while minimizing the risk of injury. Now let's go over some important updates related to sick child exclusion, allergy care plans, and the use of EpiPens. The rules now include updated exclusion guidelines based on specific symptoms, and these guidelines have been aligned with the recommendations from the Oregon Health Authority and Oregon Department of Education. If an EpiPen is used on a child, CCLD must be notified by 5 p.m. of the next business day. By following these updated guidelines, you'll help create a safer environment for all children by making sure illnesses are properly managed, allergies are addressed, and any health incidences are properly reported. Now let's review the updated rules related to serious injury and incident reporting, as well as first aid kit requirements. Any serious injury or incident must be documented with a report. The report must include the signature of the parent indicating that they've reviewed the report or received a copy within 48 hours of the incident or injury occurring, and should be maintained in the child's file. An email or text confirming receipt will count as a parent's signature. The updated rules now include a dislocated bone as part of the serious injury category. If a child experiences a dislocation, it must be documented and reported as a serious injury. There have been some important additions to the first aid kit requirements. The additions include a sling or triangular bandage, bottled water for cleaning wounds or eyes, tweezers, plastic bags, and cold packs. These additions ensure that your first aid kit is fully stocked to handle a broader range of injuries and incidents in the childcare setting. By ensuring these reporting requirements and first aid kit supplies are in place, you'll be prepared to handle any emergency that may arise and provide accurate documentation and follow-up for the children in your care. Now let's talk about some important updates regarding medication authorization and the administration of non-medical items in childcare settings. For children with chronic medical conditions, caregivers may now receive up to 12 months of permission to administer medication related to their condition. You can now get over-the-phone permission from parents to administer a single dose of non-prescription medication. The permission should be documented and include who you received the permission from, what time, and what the medication was given. All medication must be stored under a child safety lock to ensure that it's inaccessible to children. Emergency medication, such as an EpiPen or inhaler, must either be inaccessible to children or with you to ensure it's readily available during an emergency, but maintained out of children's reach. You now have the option to receive annual authorization from parents for the use of non-medical items like sunscreen. For these non-medical items, you no longer need to document the application of sunscreen or diaper cream, making the process more streamlined. The rule previously prohibited the use of aerosol sunscreen has now been removed. But remember, sunscreen must always be applied according to the manufacturer's instructions. Finally, it's important to note that medication cannot be administered after its expiration date. These changes are meant to make medications management and the administration of non-medical items easier while ensuring the safety and well-being of the children in your care. Let's discuss the updated rules around written care plans for children who have or are at increased risk for chronic physical, developmental, behavioral, or emotional conditions. If a child requires additional supportive services that go beyond what is typically needed for children, a written care plan must be developed and kept on file. This care plan should outline any specific services or accommodations that the child needs to thrive in the childcare setting. If the individualized service required for this child means that they will need to be out of the direct supervision of the caregiver, then parental permission is required. For example, if a child needs one-on-one therapy sessions or specialized care that takes them out of the general childcare group, you must have a written consent from the parent or guardian before proceeding. The written care plan ensures that you are prepared to provide the right level of care and help ensure the child's safety and well-being while in your care. This is essential to providing individualized, appropriate care for children with specific needs. Ronnie, I wanted to pause for a moment and see if you had any questions.
One moment, Jenny. Thank you.
Okay, certainly.
So we have a question about a trampoline, and can childcare children play on it?
Trampoline use for childcare children is prohibited as of July 1. So if you have a trampoline in your yard, you will need to make some accommodations to ensure that childcare children cannot access it or play on it.
Thank you. So if a child arrives in a childcare setting and the provider is not sure if the child just has allergies or is just not feeling well, can they request that the parent provide a doctor's note?
So our rules state when a child must be sent home or not come into care. So there are specific symptoms when a child must be sent home, which again align with the Oregon Health Authority restrictions or symptom-based exclusions for schools. Anything beyond that is really just probably a discussion that you would need to have with a parent. And if you have specific questions about how these rules could affect that, we would ask you to probably reach out to your licensing specialist.
So would a provider need the care plan before the care is actually started with the child that needs the care plan?
For a child with a specific need, I'm going to double check again my rule book that I have up here. This is section 1050. So it says when caring for a child who has or is at an increased risk of chronic physical, developmental, behavioral, or an emotional condition, and who requires health and related services of a type or amount beyond that required by children generally, a provider must have a written care plan. It does not state that it has to be in place prior to enrollment. And we also know that some of a child may not be known prior. So it just, as soon as it's been identified, that's when the plan must be created. But as we know, some children do come in to care with known specific needs. And if those are known, a plan may need to be developed.
Thank you. What if the child that needs the care plan is the provider's own child? Would they also need to have one on site?
We have not had that question. And I don't know if I can answer that in this webinar. It might be a specific ask to your licensing specialist. I will say that traditionally, when we look at a provider's own children, they count in ratio and group size, and not other rules, since they are your own children in your own home. But I would definitely think that that would be a question you would want to ask your licensing specialist. And I'm sorry we can't answer all questions live. Some of them are so specific and would really depend on your situation that you're in.
Okay, we will move on for now. Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you. Thank you both. And Cynthia, I will pass it back to you. Cynthia, I'm very sorry. We can't hear you. All right, let me take over for you, if you wouldn't mind. We're close to the end of our slides. Let's review the updated rules around food safety, the beverages that can be served, and the new choking hazard guidelines. Children are not allowed in the kitchen or food preparation areas while food is being prepared, unless you are present to ensure the children's safety. You must also protect children from hazards, such as hot foods, sharp utensils, or anything that could pose a risk. There's a new provision allowing parents to opt out of milk service. However, this cannot be a program-wide policy. It must be done at the parent's request. If a parent does not want milk served to their child, you must accommodate that request, ensuring alternatives are provided. You are now required to serve only the following beverages: water, milk, or a nutritionally equivalent milk substitute, 100% fruit or vegetable juice. These options ensure that children receive nutritious beverages that support their health and well-being. There's now a list of choking hazards that cannot be served to children. It's important to be aware of which foods and items may pose a risk and avoid serving them to children in your care to prevent choking incidences. By following these updated guidelines, you can ensure that your childcare setting remains safe, health conscious, and accommodating to parents' requests, while also minimizing the risk of choking. Next, we'll review updated rules regarding field trips and transportation safety. Next slide, please. When taking children on field trips, you must frequently check a written list of children on the field trip, ensuring that all children are accounted for. This check must occur before boarding and exiting the vehicle. Anytime the group changes location on a field trip site, for example, moving from one exhibit to the next, This helps ensure that no child is left behind and the group is always properly supervised. When there are 6 or more children on a field trip, each child must wear an easily identifiable item, such as a label, shirt, or wristband, displaying your name and phone number, so the child can be identified if needed. Additionally, you must be easily identifiable as well to ensure others who know who is supervising the childcare children. Next, we'll review the updated rules regarding field trips and transportation safety. Okay, next slide, please.
It should be there.
Okay. There are new transportation safety practices that must be followed, including specific information items that must be maintained both at the program and in the vehicle. This helps ensure that transportation is safe and well documented. A notice of the field trip must be posted at least 48 hours in advance and must include the date, destination, and estimated times of departure and return. This notice must be placed in a prominent area where parents and others can easily view it. A parent may be allowed to transport children other than their own without a caregiver present in the vehicle, but only if the parent meets certain substitute provider qualifications and transportation requirement as outlined in these rules. The parent must also be enrolled in the CBR. These updates ensure that children are safe and accounted for during field trips, and the transportation is well organized and properly communicated to both staff and parents. Swimming and water activities. For children engaged in activities in natural bodies of water, such as shallow surf, lakes, rivers, and streams, the activity is now limited to wading only. Swimming is not permitted in these environments. Additionally, children under the age of 36 months are prohibited from wading or swimming in natural bodies of water to ensure their safety in potentially hazardous environments. There are new requirements for pools used in childcare settings. These updated guidelines are designed to enhance safety and ensure that any pool used for childcare meets specific criteria to minimize the risk to children. The caregiver to child ratios for swimming have been updated to ensure appropriate supervision during swimming activities. By following these updated rules, you can ensure that children are safe during water activities, whether in natural bodies of water or in pools. Now let's address a new rule regarding animal contact. You must ensure that any animal accessible to childcare children is healthy with no signs of disease, friendly and non-aggressive towards children, free of fleas, ticks, and worms, fully immunized, including rabies, vaccination for dogs with proof of vaccinations on file, kept in a cage or a tank except for cats and dogs. Providers must take precautions when encountering unfamiliar animals or strays to ensure children's safety. I think we have just a few more minutes, Ronnie and Abby, if there are any more questions.
I think that we have one question, which will be great at this time. Will we be able to get a link to this recording after the session is completed?
It will be available. So a recording of this and also the recording both in Russian and Spanish will be made available on the DELC YouTube page and we will have links up on our website to this video once it's been uploaded. So yes.
Thank you, Abby. Just a reminder, any unanswered questions, we will be able to respond to you via your name and email. As long as you're not anonymous, we'll know who to send the response to. Thank you.
Thank you. That brings us to the end of today's webinar on the Certified Family Child Care Rule Revision. Thank you all so much for taking the time to join us and for your continued dedication to providing safe, nurturing, and high-quality care for children and families across Oregon. Your role is incredibly important, and we appreciate the work you do every day to support early learning and development. As you begin to implement these updated rules, we want to remind you that you're not alone. For additional information, tools, and training resources, please visit our website at www.oregon.gov/DELC. It's a great place to find the most up-to-date guidance and support materials related to the rule revision. And of course, if you have any questions or concerns about how these changes apply to your program, reach out to your licensor directly. They are there to support you and help you navigate any changes or adjustments you may need to make. Again, thank you for your time, attention, and commitment. Together, we're creating a safer and more supportive environments for children in every corner of our state. Have a great evening, and we look forward to connecting with you again soon. Take care, all.
Good night.
Good night.